Like Lamar, never lost.
All right, time now for scores to start your morning. The Yankees won their AL wildcard game 7-2 over the A's. Great game to watch in full if you're doing a very, very early East Coast morning show.
Ooh, yeah.
Aaron Judge hit a two-run home run in the bottom of the first, and Giancarlo Stanton homered in the 8th inning in his first career playoff game. So Yanks take on the Sox in the ALDS. CC, you have faith in this Yankees team?
I really do. I happened to bump into Aaron Judge the night before the game, Tuesday night, ABC Kitchen, Flatiron District, great restaurant and everything. He had a couple of, I had my wife with me, my wife and I. No, date night for my wife and I. Man, he's a big guy. Yeah. Now, I'm a huge Yankees fan, have been since I was a kid, so I believe in the Yankees, but will their bats match up with their pitching? We know Major League Baseball record home runs, but man, the postseason's about pitching. Good pitching always shuts down great hitting.
The Yankees deserve a ton of credit dealing with all the injuries they had this year, and they still won 100 games.
Yeah.
The problem is they are playing a historically good team in the Boston Red Sox. Now, to their benefit, it's a short series because the Red Sox are better, but in a best of 5, they absolutely could get them. I like that they saved J.A. Happ for the series against Boston. I still think Boston's the heavy favorite.
All right, moving on to the NLDS. Game 1 between the Rockies and Brewers today at 4 Eastern. Where, Nick?
Here on FS1.
Miller Park is going to be rocking for the postseason action. What are the keys to Game 1, Nick?
I just want to see if Christian Yelich can continue the pace that he and Javi Baez were neck and neck for an NL MVP. And then the Brewers went on an 8-game winning streak, essentially all must-win games if they were going to win that division. During that streak, he had 5 home runs, 17 RBIs, and hit, I think, 430. So if he continues that hot streak, the Brewers are the best team in the National League. On the other side, it's that guy right there, see, Nolan Arenado. He's the best player on the Rockies. He's carried them to this point.
Yeah, it's going to be about big bats. Man, you're talking about home runs. It's like the NFL. Record scoring, record yardage, Major League Baseball. Test the baseballs, man. The baseballs might be. Yeah.
You're on that one.
Yeah.
Balls are juiced.
I'm not with theories and everything, but the baseball thing.
So you're into that?
Yeah, I'm into that.
You're into that.
Yeah.
Let's get back to basketball.
Balls are juiced.
NBA general managers were surveyed and voted LeBron James as the favorite to take home the MVP trophy. Side note, it's the Kings' 16th season. Nick, how difficult will LeBron's road to an MVP be this year?
I think this is the best chance he has to win MVP that he's had since he last won an MVP, because so much for LeBron, it's about expectations. He's been the best player in the league every year for the last 11, but he only has 4 MVPs, mostly because of where the expectations were. Last year, they won 50 games in Cleveland. It was considered a disappointment. It's one of the reasons he finished second instead of first. This year, 50 wins in Los Angeles would be considered a big success. I actually think he pulls it off in year 16.
I think this would be one of the biggest things LeBron can do. Man, at this point in his career, 16, to be MVP, I like the fact of the respect to general managers. LeBron's changing locations, got 11 new teammates, and they still think he should be the favorite to be the MVP. That's the ultimate respect, not from the players, not the fans, not Vegas, the GMs.
All right, moving on to Kevin Durant, who has another year before he can hit free agency again. But according to all the buzz on the rumor mill, you'd think he's looking for his next job right now. KD said he'll be transparent with his decision this time around. Yahoo's NBA reporter Chris Haynes was on Undisputed yesterday and addressed the question of Durant's next team. Take a listen to this.
New York Knicks have a very good shot at luring KD away from the Bay Area. The reason I say that is his business partner, Rich Kleiman, is based in New York. A huge New York Knicks fan. Their business is located and based in New York. KD's dad is a big New York Knicks fan. The same allure that LeBron had towards the Los Angeles Lakers, just the building, the culture, same thing, the same way I know that KD feels about the Knicks.
All right, CC, you buying the Knicks as a viable option for Kevin Durant?
I mean, Chris Haynes, you have to recognize who's saying this. Very, very well respected in the business. He's broken a couple stories in the last year that been like of the big news in the NBA. He was part of a lot of that news-breaking cycle. I like the fact that just some subtle little things that I'd never ever heard before. The draw the Lakers had on LeBron as far as business and off the court. With KD being out west, he also has spent some time in Los Angeles. Like, it would be inviting for him to come to New York City. I think that that's pretty important. I think the fact that his dad, who I haven't heard anything about his dad being part of his life, only heard about his mom, the great stories, his dad being a Knicks fan, that to me is very intriguing. I think the fact that a good friend of mine, who happens to be the general manager of the New York Knicks, and Scott Perry, was also part of the front office when he was drafted by Seattle. I think that that's might play a part, because that's not something that people are talking about. But the ability to be some type of brand and off the court, I know in Nick and his conversation with the people in the NBA, this is part of the new NBA player. It's not necessarily where they're going to have their shoes. I need to play in a big market, but where they have these other business dealings and they have a tremendous amount of interest. So as we watch this player movement, these are things that we must keep an eye on. They're not like the athletes that we've covered before. So we have to look for things that are very, very different. And I think that's what KD has as far as his business interest and it being based out of New York.
Chris Haynes is a legitimate reporter, as CC mentioned. I'm the guy that talks about sports on
he's
TV.
not legitimate.
And so,
his own show.
Sometimes there's opinion-based things like who's going to win the MVP. But sometimes I try to come on this show with some real information, some sourced information. And we've been talking about Kevin Durant not only being open to leaving Golden State, but being open to leaving Golden State for New York City for the better part of 2 months now. I'm glad Chris Haynes really is buttoning it up for us, but the stuff about his business partner, Kleinman, is absolutely important. Like KD and our friend Jordan Schultz, just teamed up with them for a new television series they're going to be doing. They do podcast series together. Kleinman's helped.
Man, what kind of money we talking about now?
I mean,
because if a guy in the NBA, because fans watching this be like, hey, you know, Kevin Durant's making $35 million. These guys are making $35 to $40 million.
Rich Kleinman's entire job is to be the president of Kevin Durant Incorporated. And through those business opportunities, I have reason to believe Kevin Durant almost equals his on-court earnings off-court. I'm not talking about because of the Nike money. I'm talking about because of business ventures. Like these are the types of things that Kevin Durant has been successful with off the court. And now, by the way, that is one of the draws Golden State has. I brought this up and people laughed at me. Next year they move to San Francisco. They go and courtside there's going to be 7 of the 15 richest people in the country going to have courtside seats. It's going to be a billionaires row of tech people. That's a big draw for Kevin Durant. But Los Angeles now with LeBron there, you don't want to come. Let's just say the Clippers were an option or whatever. Right. Like, you go be second fiddle in L.A. He go be the biggest star in New York City. And the Knicks, credit to Scott Perry and the people there, a year from now, assuming they've moved on from Joe Kimno, and they will have, they can get 2 max guys. You could have Durant and a Kyrie to go along with Kristaps. Kevin Durant
and that would solve the question with Kristaps, because he's got some people potentially in his camp that might not want him in New York.
Right, but then the Knicks would be, once again, one of the marquee franchises in the league. Knicks haven't won a title since '73. They have not on the court earned their brand, but their brand is still their brand. They still play in the Mecca. They still play here, a basketball town. And so I don't want to make it seem like this foregone conclusion, because it absolutely isn't. But anyone dismissing the idea that Durant could leave and that if he would leave, he would pick New York is flatly wrong.
Quickly, does it make him contenders if he joins the Knicks?
Listen, man. Kevin Durant it's why it's so frustrating he went to Golden State. He make everybody a contender. Durant, LeBron, the 2 guys in the league, wherever they go, they are contenders. You add Kristaps and maybe another guy, absolutely.
All right, moving on to Odell Beckham Jr., who appears to be very frustrated. It might be because the supposed new-look New York Giants currently sit in last place in the NFC East with a 1-3 record. You can point to a number of reasons why. Here's Odell voicing his frustration Sunday.
I don't know.